You're now watching Sports Bettor's Paradise on the BetRivers Network.
All right, Jimmy, out with Randy McKay talking NFL. After a 10-week run of 20-10 overall, had to come to a halt at some point. Well, 1-2 week, got tripped up the damn Lions. Did they forget they were on national? Aren't they supposed to be the one that's more accustomed to this time slot than this? What was that on Thanksgiving Day? The Lions defense, Jordan Love shredding them. Maybe Jordan Love now, win against the Chargers. Even in a loss against Pittsburgh, they moved the ball and against a pretty good defense in a tough place for offenses to play in Pittsburgh as well. So 1-2. So, man, that is a great run. Let's get it back going because a lot of people talking about it. Most of you know, if you're watching this, over a 10-week period to go 67%. That is sizzling. Let's go to New England here. Speaking of sizzling, no, not so much. How about that? The teams at NFL this year, teams that have held their opponents to 10 or less points are 50-2. The two are the Patriots. The one in the Colts game abroad, and then this past week, 10-7 losers to the Giants. Looking at that total, looking at points of premium, Chargers in New England in Foxborough, the total is 40.5. Randy, you like the under?
Yeah, and before I get started here, we got week 12, 6 teams on a bye, so limited choices again. This is the last week, I believe, of the byes. Maybe there is one more. I didn't check the advanced schedule, but pretty much every team now will have the bye. So going into this game, this New England, you're not required to watch this to start if you don't want to. New England games are a tough watch. If anybody watched that whole Giants game, God bless you. But you got a 4-7 team against a 2-9 team here in New England. Some talks that they might even, Belichick is starting Jones because maybe they want to lose games and stay in that quarterback hunt for next year. No truth to that. I don't believe NFL teams really tank. It's tough to tank with 11 guys. Now, NBA is a little easier when you got five guys on the court opposed to 11, but I don't see them doing that. Getting anything under 40.5 here with a team, this Charger team as well, 4-7. What are they really playing for? Of course, in this time when you have the extra wild card spot till you lose your 7th game and make it an 8 loss, you're not totally out of it. I think we've even seen a team with 8 losses get in there. So they still got motivation, Staley a little bit to play, but New England's quarterback situation this game tends me to lean under. If they start Bailey Zappi, he likes to check it down, not go downfield, where Mac Jones will go downfield. Unfortunately, this year he's been going downfield with the wrong team. They've been running the ball okay here with Stevenson and Elliott, so I could see some success on the ground against this weak Charger team without Bosa up front. They could have some success here. We've seen on the other side, too, Herbert banged up, with his receivers and everything else, himself banged up. They've had to matriculate the ball down the field slowly as well, like they did against the Ravens, not with much success there. Kind of a weird game there as well. So that kind of bodes real well for an under here. Hopefully no bad turnovers, and we should hold under the 40.5 here.
All right, get extra value this football season with BetRivers Squares. Win up to $10,000 in bonus money. Bet $10 in same-game parlays on any game with the Squares icon to earn a square. That's brought to you by our friends over at BetRivers. So the under in Chargers, New England, 40.5. Now another firing was made in, imagine this, in Charlotte of all places. They go through them like nothing, Mr. Tepper. Just a little bit too involved there. Carolina going to Tampa Bay, divisional game in the AFC South. You say maybe, the NFC South representative in the playoffs might have a losing record. Both of the leaders have losing records as we speak now. Tampa Bay is a 5.5-point favorite at home against Carolina. You like the points here, Randy. Sometimes you get an inspired effort when the coach is fired. Not only the coach, but a couple assistants as well.
Yeah, and we could spend a lot of time here talking about the Frank Reich regime. Kind of put in a bad spot here. He's put in a good spot with the Colts, but they got banged up a lot there and kind of got a raw deal. But this deal here, where he probably wanted the other quarterback, Stroud, instead of Bryce Young here, but not a good setup here. Of course, like you said, the owner's too much motivated in what the team does, and he put up a lot of money and he expects perfection, but you just don't get that right away. And I see a bump here with this team. Again, you got a 1-10 team against a 4-7 banged up Tampa Bay defense, especially. We saw that kind of come into play against Indianapolis last week, even though some of them guys were playing that were banged up. Minshew had pretty good success, and like I said, Taylor had a lot of success on the ground there with a couple touchdowns as well. And this Tampa team, once this team, I can back Mayfield as an underdog, but as a favorite, I don't want any part of him in this Tampa Bay offense, especially. They did run the ball a little bit better than they have been. Their offensive line is still weak here. And I see, Carolina has some success with their good defensive line. Their team going to be motivated here after the firing. And we see in these AFC South games, these teams play each other pretty close. We saw that with New Orleans and Atlanta last week in a predictable game that was going to be close. I think this one will be close as well, probably come down to a field goal either way. So getting, it's a plug your nose style bet here. So getting any kind of plus 5.5, 6 here, very good play here with the Carolina Panthers.
All right, the Panthers plus 5.5 after the move at head coach and elsewhere on the staff there. Let's go from the NFC South to the AFC South, and the Colts are now in the playoffs as we speak. Now they travel to Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans. Titans took care of Carolina, at least, and held them off last week in Nashville. As Will Levis started out pretty good against Atlanta and Pittsburgh and has kind of been, lukewarm lately. Solid against Carolina, I guess you could say, but still trying to figure out the first-round draft pick out of Kentucky. Titans at home catching 2 against the Colts.
Yeah, and you have a 6-5 Colts team here versus a 4-7 Tennessee team. And like I said, both these teams still, have a shot, so they're both in it. Colts did win the prior meeting in a close game, 23-16 in Indianapolis. But other than that, Vrabel has owned the Colts in division. He's, very good underdog coach. And I expect this team to have a full good effort here against this Colts team. I'm pretty happy with the way Levis has played, even though he was pedestrian last week. Vrabel kind of coached that up that way because they knew that if they don't turn the ball over, they're going to beat that team in Carolina coming in. And they did that with their strong defense and defensive line. They're playing very well with Simmons. Going to make some havoc for this Colts team to run the ball like they did last week against Tampa Bay. Going to be tough to do that. Also, Minshew, a gunslinger, guy I like to back more as an underdog as well. And, you always get that 1 or 2 turnovers from him. And I can see that happening here. These two teams know each other real well. And I could see even Henry having some success here on the ground, outside, because the Colts are tough to run against in the inside there with Buckner and company. And Tennessee's offensive line is better at home. They're not a team that, with their offensive line, can really travel on the road. So getting any kind of points here with Tennessee, I think, is value in a game that should probably be right around the pick'em range. So I'll take the +2.
Minshew's been all over the place. I mean, he was horrendous at Jacksonville. I mean, the three interceptions, digged them a hole, and got a little bit of garbage time late. Against Cleveland, he was unbelievable. 13 yards an attempt against the best defense they faced. Remember, that's a game where the refs just absolutely robbed them of that game. But Carolina did basically nothing, 127 yards. That's when they had the 2 pick sixes against Bryce Young. And New England was pretty much nothing. And Tampa Bay was dink and dunk the whole time. 6 yards an attempt, 24 of 41. So he's been kind of all over the place. But the Colts are winning. They've put together a modest 3-game winning streak against Carolina, New England, and Tampa Bay. Not exactly murderer's row. Tennessee, I like Tennessee plus the 2 as well. Let's get back on again. Randy McKay, he's with us each and every week, giving out his best bets. Again, outstanding year. Well over 60% for the year. And what do we say? Now 9 of 11 winning weeks in this streak that we've had. So for the last, that's after a 67% run over a 10-week span. For Randy McKay, I'm Jimmy Ott here on the Sports Bettor's Paradise on the BetRivers Network.